The driveway and walkways of your home are more than just functional elements. They contribute significantly to the overall curb appeal and value of your property. Proper planning and execution are essential to ensure these features not only durable and practical, but also aesthetically pleasing. Today, we are joined by Cullin Linkenheimer, the owner of Missing Link Landscaping Excavation, a company renowned for its expertise in creating stunning driveways and walkways. Cullin will share his insights on the importance of meticulous planning and execution in these projects, offering valuable advice for homeowners who are in the information gathering phase before hiring a contractor. Join us as we explore the key considerations and best practices for designing and building exceptional driveways and walkways. Hey, Cullin, thanks for joining me today. Looking forward to having this discussion on driveways and walkways. So, start out by telling us about Missing Link Landscaping and Excavation and the range of services that you offer related to driveways and walkways.
Yeah, so here at Missing Link Landscaping and Excavating, we offer a very wide range of services, especially when it comes to sidewalks, driveways, stuff in that area. We have the machines and ability to pretty much remodel your whole entire driveway. If you got a walkway, we can, fix walkway. Or if you're looking to create a new outdoor patio area or a new walkway around your house to up the aesthetics, we also have the ability to do that as well.
That's awesome. I'm sure it's very popular in your area of the world in Pennsylvania. So the second question that people have is, what are the first steps homeowners should take when planning a new driveway or walkway project?
Yeah, the first steps that everybody should take is, one, kind of think about whether you want concrete or pavers. Those are the two biggest materials that are used around this area, either concreting a driveway or a walkway, or using pavers, which are very similar to concrete, but, they are different and they have much more variety. And then after you figure that out, it's pretty much picking a style. We here at Missing Link, we can help you with a style and give you our recommendations. But as a homeowner, is to, take the time, sit down, think about it, talk to your spouse, and see what type of color, texture, and design that you would like. There's, you can fit. We send people all the time to go look at samples. That way you can physically see what the product will look like before, you move forward and actually put that on your property.
That's great. Now, how do you help clients choose the best materials for their driveways and walkways, considering factors like durability, maintenance, and aesthetic?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything has its pros and cons. Whether, concrete has pros and cons, and so does pavers. And the biggest thing is cost. So, pavers can sometimes cost more depending on the style of pavers that you get. And so can concrete. Concrete is pretty straightforward, but there's also a thing called stamped concrete, which gives you that paver look, but it's stamped in the concrete, hence why they call it the stamped concrete. But we can work together looking at budget, what the terrain looks like, the area that you're in, what we would recommend would work the best as well as last the longest. Durability is definitely a big thing, especially when making this big of an investment in your property. They can be a little bit more pricey, but they help with the overall aesthetics of the house. They help with durability, and they help with water, any water problems or water, draining, you could say.
Yeah, those are huge things to consider, especially the drainage and durability, making sure that that project is going to last a long time for the homeowner, because you don't want to be redoing it again in a couple of years, right?
Absolutely.
Now, can you share a memorable project where you transformed a driveway or walkway that made it stand out?
Yeah, so there's been a couple of driveways and walkways that we have done. The biggest ones that we see are driveways, for example, that are slanted down towards the house. Like if you have a garage that you're down into a hill and water's rushing down there, we have seen times where there wasn't the proper drainage put in for that type of driveway, and we've gotten called out there because water is passing the drain or there's no drain. It's going into the garage, it's flooding the basement and stuff like that. You don't want water running to your house. You want to divert that as best as possible. So there has been times where we have gone and, we had rip up the driveway, we put the proper draining in, and, clients have been very pleased because they no longer have water running into their basement. They have water now, diverting away from the house. And same way with walkways, as we see it as well. If for a concrete walkway, if they call it a negative slope. If you have a negative slope where it's falling backwards say towards the house or somewhere where you don't want it, again, you get the same issues where water is puddling against the house instead of going away from the house. So there have been, a good amount of times where we've had come in, ripped it up, put the proper drainage and the proper slope to help make sure the water gets away from the house.
Yeah, very, very important fact there that, water going towards your house is always going to cause some kind of an issue. And then, it causes problems with rot in the house and, the
Absolutely.
freeze thaw aspects,
Yep.
and also just create more damage to that concrete. So what are some common mistakes that homeowners make during the planning phase of the driveway or walkway projects, and how can they avoid them?
I would say some basic common mistakes, is look at where, well, the biggest thing is we can help you on determining what, you want to put in around your house or in front of your house or what type of driveway. But think of the area that you're located in, whether you're on a hill, whether, you have slope, you don't have slope, whether you're flat. A lot of times we get calls that sometimes we come out there and they want to do, pavers on a super steep hill or somewhere that doesn't get, a lot of attention. But, sometimes we'll recommend maybe doing concrete just for the fact that water has a better chance on a super steep slope to kind of roll downhill, less problems down the road. It's more just taking the time to, let us review the options with you, show you the different options. We can go over the pros and cons, and then that way nothing is rushed. And, you guys, the owners can make an executive decision on what they would like to do. At the end of the day, it's their property. We're here to help. So, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, that leads directly into the next question. How do you ensure you're getting proper drainage and foundation for the driveways and walkways so you prevent future issues like cracking or water damage?
Yeah, so slope. So, there's things such as laser levels and other labels that we use on site to make sure that when we are grading the base of either a concrete driveway or pad or, a paver patio or anything in that nature, whether we're using pavers or concrete, we have lasers on site. We obviously use levels and everything else, but we make sure that the grade of the base and everything is, flowing the way that we want it to flow, and we have water going away from the house. And just like the example I gave earlier, if we have a driveway that's going down towards the house, we need to make sure that we put things called a channel drain right inside the concrete, which are very common, in this area because it's a very hilly area. So it's nothing unusual, but you want to make sure that you're collecting that water somewhere in some type of drain, even on a patio, even with pavers. That way water can, disperse and not puddle up.
Yeah, no, so speaking of design and, getting water away from the patio or the driveway or walkway, what role does design play in the overall success of a driveway or walkway project, and how do you incorporate the homeowner's style preferences into the design?
Yeah, the design plays a big role. Especially when we're wrapping a walkway around the house or again with a driveway or patio. These structures are very close to the house. They're usually leading right into a door or around the house. So we just got to keep in mind that when we're laying this project out and designing it on paper, that we have, especially, that we're going with the grade. If we have any grade issues, how are we going to handle them? Do we need to bring the ground up? Do we need to drop the ground? Any of those things we take into consideration before, we even break ground. That goes all into the planning phase on our end of the project on how can we make this patio or concrete last the longevity of its time. And then as the design part, there's a lot of options when it comes to design. Like I said earlier, concrete is concrete. You can dye the concrete to an extent. You can do stamped concrete. But when it comes to the other options, which are pavers, there's a lot of different styles. There's different patterns, there's different sizes. You have small, you have large. There's textured, there's smooth. The possibilities, and that's where every day they make a new style. So when we talk to the client, deal with the client, we like to either give them a pamphlet or a book to kind of look at different, projects that have been done with that stone. And we also like to send them to the supply yard on where we get our stuff. That way they can physically see each of these products instead of just seeing it on paper. A lot of times, in person, it looks different than what you're looking at on a computer. So we kind of work with them. We give them the tools, we set them up to kind of help them pick the best choice that they like. And, once they decide what kind of style they want, we can move ahead and then, take care of the project for them.
Sounds awesome. Sounds like you've got a good handle on how to help people, plan their whole project, right? The design aspect of the walkway or the driveway or
Yeah.
patio. Now, how do you handle the challenges such as uneven terrain or existing landscaping when planning and executing driveway and walkway projects?
Yeah, so just like any job, the base is always the most important. Okay, the base, whether you're doing a concrete base or you're doing a paver base. Now, pavers require a much deeper base than, say, a concrete pad or a concrete driveway. So whenever we're dealing with that, we have to take a look. We have to take things such as soil condition. What's the slope? Just like I mentioned, in the previous question, the slope and the grade of the current ground. But we take all those into consideration to make sure, again, that we have, one, a stable ground. We're not putting something on loose soil, and two, about for longevity. If we take the time, and when we take the time to kind of make sure that the base of either the concrete or pavers are solid, and up to our standards, then that patio or driveway or walkway, whatever you decide, we make sure that it lasts the test of time, because we take the extra time to make sure that the ground is in stable condition.
Perfect. Now, talk about maintenance. What advice would you give homeowners on maintaining their driveways and walkways to ensure longevity and continued aesthetic appeal?
Yeah, so both require their different types of maintenance, whether you choose concrete or pavers. A basic one for doing, if you decide to do concrete, is sealing it. A concrete sealer, we put that on usually after we pour as well, to help the longevity of the concrete. But again, this is Pittsburgh, so you're gonna run into some bumps in the roads when we have salt and we have freeze and we have thaw. Now, to help mitigate any issues down the road, the biggest thing is, one, after every season, try to give a good pressure wash, keep it clean. And after a couple years, depending on the type of sealer, make sure you reseal it. That sealer, what it does for concrete and even for pavers, they make sealer for both, is that it's supposed to protect it against all the elements such as salt, rain, debris, anything that runs against it. Especially whenever you're doing a big investment such as a driveway or something in your house, you want to keep it for as long as you can. So the more that you keep it maintenance, the more life you're going to get out of that project.
All right, last question. Can you discuss the importance of hiring a professional contractor like Missing Link Landscaping and Excavation for driveway and walkway projects and the value it brings to the homeowner?
Yes, yeah, this is definitely an important one. There's been many circumstances, like I mentioned earlier, where there's not enough time, I guess, spent in the beginning of the project, such as getting the base correct or using the right material. Such example, we've seen companies use very thin rebar, not tying the rebar correctly, using not enough. We've also seen people put pavers on very shallow ground, which everything pavers require usually a 6-inch bed of rock, tamped down, and then 1 inch of bedding, and then your pavers. But we've seen it where usually those numbers are cut in half. So the biggest thing for homeowners is, when it's coming to choosing a company, us here at Missing Link, we have the experience, and we make sure that it's done right, because again, pavers are expensive and concrete can be as well. So we want to make sure that whenever you're paying, that you're getting your money's worth for what you're looking to get done.
Awesome. All right, thanks so much for your time today, Cullin. Hopefully we'll get to hear some more advice from you in the days to come.
Absolutely, thank you.